Harbinger of Light, written by Ben-Tzion Spitz, and narrated by Jennifer Kahen.
638 male babies have been thrown into the Nile,
the captain read from his papyrus scroll.
18 male babies have been evacuated by their families to further districts, and 1 male baby is unaccounted for.
What does unaccounted for mean? Pharaoh asked in irritation from his throne.
We've searched every crevice of the family's home, the captain explained apologetically, and that of their neighbours, their relatives, and anyone they are in regular contact with. We've searched behind every bush and under every stone, but the baby is nowhere to be found.
What does the family claim? Pharaoh demanded. What do they say happened to the baby?
They claim the infant has already been thrown into the Nile, but there's no mention of this in our records.
Are you sure?
We're certain, O Pharaoh. Our records are impeccable. Our forces have not supervised the throwing of the Amram child into the Nile.
Amram, you say? Pharaoh nodded pensively. It would have to be his child. He is the leader of the Hebrews. His child would certainly be a candidate to be the destined redeemer. Where can he be? I can answer that, father, a striking young woman declared as she strode into Pharaoh's audience chamber. Daughter, what is the meaning of this? Pharaoh asked in surprise and annoyance. I can report on the unaccounted child that you have not managed to drown yet. Daughter, I know that you disapprove of our activities. However, bear in mind that this is for the greater good of Egypt. Pfft, the daughter made a spitting motion. You would slaughter innocent babes and still call yourself a hero? You put too much faith in your astrologer's omens. Daughter, beware of that tongue of yours, or we can have the offensive organ removed, even from you, my precious jewel. You would silence the only one who tells you the truth. You are surrounded by these sycophantic mongrels who have twisted your mind with superstition and half-truths. They will lead you and Egypt to nothing but misery.
Captain,
Pharaoh turned away from his daughter, leave us, and on your way out, call for the royal executioner and my advisers. The daughter took a step back at the mention of the executioner. Daughter, Pharaoh turned his gaze. Do not joust with me in such a tone, and certainly not in front of my underlings. I think perhaps a lesson in respect is in order. How can I respect a cold-blooded murderer? I will show you. Moments later, the royal executioner walked in, followed by Pharaoh's advisers, Janus and Jimbre. Executioner, what temporary ways do you have to silence a person? Pharaoh looked meaningfully at his daughter. I know that tongues do not grow back, but is there something short of cutting a tongue that may teach a long-lasting lesson in etiquette to the princess? Irons, Pharaoh, irons are the way. You would close her mouth with irons? While I am tempted by the notion, I would like something less unseemly. No, Pharaoh, I meant hot irons. If we poke her tongue or the inside of her mouth with hot irons, she will not talk for a while, and eventually it will heal. How long will she be silent for? I'm not sure. The few times I tried it, the subjects died from their wounds, but I would be very careful with the princess. I would take perhaps several months to heal, maybe even a year. A year is very good, then. Be careful not to mar her beautiful features. And if she does not speak again in a year, executioner, you will lose more than your tongue. But, father, the daughter exclaimed in alarm, I thought you wanted to know about the missing child. Yes, then, tell me. Only if you do not unleash your henchmen on me. That, my dear, will depend on the nature of your answer. I have the baby. You do? Good work. Hand him to the executioner and we shall dispose of him presently. No. What do you mean, no? I shall not hand him over. He is my son. Your son? Your son? Pharaoh got off of his throne and started shouting, "What in the name of Ra are you talking about?" "I found him in the river. I have adopted him to be my son. According to all the ancient laws, he is mine. You cannot have him." "Have him? I do not want to have him. I want to kill him. He may be the most dangerous thing to the Egyptian empire, and you are protecting him?" "Yes, and if I could, I would protect every single one of those innocent babes who you believe are so dangerous." "Daughter, you go too far." "No, I do not go far enough. I will never hand him over. If I can even save one child, I will have done my duty." "You would dare? You would dare rebel against your own father's command? This is treason. I would not spare even you from punishment." "I dare. I should have done this long ago." "So be it. Executioner, we shall execute the princess right here and now without delay. I cannot stand even a moment further with this rebellious child. Do it now." The executioner hastily grabbed the princess and a cushioned bench and prepared to behead her. He forced her to kneel on the floor and then firmly tied her torso to the bench, leaving space for her head to hang over its side. He tied the princess's hands behind her back and placed a pan on the floor where her head would fall. Pharaoh paced back and forth, seething in anger, yet holding back tears. The executioner then removed his sword and ran his fingernail over its edge to check its sharpness. He spread his legs and raised his sword. He lowered the sword slowly to the princess's neck to verify the angle and distance needed to make a quick, clean cut. He then raised his sword again, getting ready to bring it down, strongly and rapidly. "Oh, Pharaoh," Janus bowed down, "may I be so bold as to interrupt?"
"Proceed, Janus."
Pharaoh raised his hand to the executioner in a halting sign, grateful for the reprieve and hoping Janus would provide a different solution. In the meantime, the executioner slowly lowered his sword in disappointment. "From the most recent signs, it seems that the latest crisis is over," Janus continued.
"What do you mean?"
"He means, O Pharaoh," Jimbray interjected, "that according to the stars, the Redeemer has already been thrown into the Nile."
"Already thrown? That is a relief. Is the danger over then?"
Not exactly," Janus mumbled.
"Well, is there danger or not?"
"Pharaoh knows how difficult it is to read the stars," Jimbray intoned. "It seems the need to throw the children into the Nile has passed. The danger from the destined Redeemer is still out there, but it is vague and hard to read. We must remain on watch."
"But you can stop your drowning of the children," the princess interjected from her tied and kneeling position by the bench.
"Yes, princess," Jimbray answered reluctantly.
"Then there is no reason I cannot keep my son, father." "If it will stop your incessant bickering, blasphemy, and rebelliousness, I will let you keep this child. But on one further condition."
"And what would that condition be?"
"You shall not adopt another one of the Hebrews again. This shall be your one and only child from that people. You shall not afford them protection in this fashion. And if I sense that this child is a threat in any way, it will be the executioner's block for him."
"Agreed. Congratulations, father. You are now a grandfather."
"Spare me the melodrama. Release the princess." Pharaoh motioned to the executioner. "Let us examine this child, then."
"Oh, father, you will love him. He is such a precious child," the princess chirped as the executioner untied her and helped her up.
"I shall be the judge of that."
"I shall bring the baby," the princess said as she proudly strode out of the hall. Pharaoh sat back on his throne, relieved.
How do I deserve such a difficult daughter? Though I do wish my soldiers were half as brave as she is. Then the entire world would be terrified of us.
He thought of her with fatherly pride. "Is it wise to let her keep the child?" Janus inquired of Pharaoh.
"If it will appease my judgmental daughter, then it will be worth it."
"If this is indeed the child of Amram," Jimbray added, "it could have curious ramifications."
Do I want my enemy's son in my house? If he were a hostage, it would be one thing. But as an adopted child, I am less sure.
It is good to keep one's friends close, Pharaoh, Jimbray quoted. But it is better to keep one's enemies closer.
Yes, we shall keep a close eye on the son of Amram. He may yet be of use to us.
Pharaoh's daughter, beaming with joy, walked back into the hall with a baby bundled in her arms.
Here, father, this is my son. He is beautiful, Pharaoh stuttered. I told you he was special. What is on his skin? He seems to be shining or glowing. Is this sorcery?
Janus and Jimbray peered at the baby as well and made various arcane hand motions.
Get your paws away from my baby!
The princess embraced the baby defensively. We do not sense any magic around the baby. He is truly an outstanding specimen, Jimbray concluded.
Let me have another look at him, daughter. Just move your minions back. Janus, Jimbray, please give the princess some space.
The advisors backed away obediently, though still peering at the child with open curiosity. The princess again showed Pharaoh the baby. Pharaoh drank in the sight of the baby. He seemed to calm down and even enjoy looking at him.
He is truly beautiful. What is his name?
I have called him Moses, for from the water I drew him out. Moses. A chill went up Pharaoh's spine at the mention of the name. Egypt may yet rue this day, Pharaoh thought to himself quietly. The day that we let Moses live and brought him into our house. This has been Harbinger of Light, written by Ben-Tzion Spitz and narrated by Jennifer Kahen.